can you just tell me a little bit what you really like about living in Palermo, and maybe what you don't like so much there?
You probably imagine already the first answer. I'm not exaggerating if I say that food in Sicily is one of the best in the world. It sounds a bit, but I don't want to say. Of course, it's stupid. I think it's stupid things to say, but it's different. It's different. It's different food, and that. But also about the food, it's nice to see. For me, it's to discover other foods from India, for example. In London, it was a really good Indian food, and here I ate something like the olive bollen, for example. Wow, that's love. I love that. And just randomly now, and foods, of course, food. So in Sicily there are many. Also Palermo, but mainly in general in Sicily there are many different environments, lots of different landscapes. You have the seaside, but you have the mountainside, the countryside. In each part of the coast is very different. Of course, the monuments. I like the vibe when I walk in the street. It's like walking in an open museum, open air museum. You can smell the scent of history, and that's really, really nice. Mainly I felt that when I came back the last 2 years I came back in the summer with my holidays from London. I started to really feel kind of deeper connection with the place, because probably now there are more open streets where you can walk, there are no cars, so it was really nice to take my time and see around, walking around, see the monuments, and and then, as I said before, the connection, the energy that comes from that place, and it's difficult to explain. It's something that comes from the environment. I don't know if it's difficult to say, but walk in the street and I see around colors, and smell of the it's, I don't know. Of course, it's connected with my childhood. Of course, part of that. But I feel like that it's good. It's great to travel. So some really good place. But when I think about Palermo, I feel like it's part of me. It's a place where I can really find myself. I think that.
In 2011, you published as a debut CD as a co-leader of the band Mancelona.
Mm-hmm.
Can you please describe this band? Because this band exists now 10 years, right?
Yeah.
And is there kind of a general message you want to spread to people? What do you like about the members of the band? And just tell me a little bit about it.
Yeah, that's nice to see. Because it's Mancelona is really connected actually with the feeling of my relationship with Sicily. It's when we started, we were just like 4 friends improvising, playing together, and we noticed that we came up with some ideas, sometimes just composing music on the spot, and it was very natural for us. And we started as we are like 4 Sicilian friends, so that's also made me think about, when I was thinking about the name of the band and the concept, start to think also our friendship, how we compose the music. But the main thing, the main concept of the band for me was always to see this band as a to think about the music. I was thinking about the music as really somehow connected with the tradition as well, but with the idea of going out and trying to embrace other cultures, you know. And this comes out more strongly than the previous band that I did in Groningen back in the years, you know, talking about the Click Quartet, because you can feel more the vibe of some Mediterranean, you know, the Mediterranean vibe. You can feel more. You can also some melodies more related to the Arabian sounds, and but at the same time we experiment a lot with like distorted sounds nowadays with electronic music. So I always thought about this project like a mixture of a contrast of opposites, and that's what I really like and what I think about. For me, it's a sense of balance, you know, when you combine, you make those the opposite elements living together, you know. So acoustic sounds, electronic sound, like Mediterranean vibe melodies with completely like total free improvisation, you know. So this really explain for me the concept of tradition, innovation, you know. It makes a good balance for me. So Mancelona, even the name, we were looking for a name for this band, so I was like, we were looking something that could express this concept. And so then we say, okay, let's see what Mancelona means. I mean, what Nostra Casa sounds in Arabic. So at that time, I mean, I was in touch with we are still in touch, but now he lives in New York with Tarki Amani, great piano player. Now we used to study together in Groningen. Now he lives in New York, and at that time he told me like, Nostra Casa, it's Mancelona in Arabic, and I really like this name because it sounds so musical, and the Luna Manzil. I mean, Luna is the moon, you know, in Italian. So yeah, I really like the sound as well, and so that's how the name came out, and it works quite good with the concept, I guess. And so that's the main thing. Now the band is in trio format, and we use a lot more the electronic music, the visual and the digital painting. Those are new elements. So this brings even more, express more openness for the band. But we try to still keep the Sicilian vibe somehow evident.
Okay. Well, I saw that you also collaborate with other musicians, like the drummer Jacek Kochan from Poland,
Yeah.
and the Italian Emanuele Giambruno.
It's Emanuele Primavera, and Claudio Giambruno is
it's the pianist. Yeah. Can you tell me what is fascinating for you to be part of these two different elements, musically but also personally?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Jacek is an interesting project because he's a really prolific composer and experienced musician. He played with so many great idols of jazz, like Jerry Bergonzi, John Abercrombie, you know, lots of many great names. And this music, it's a combination of many interesting elements in jazz, like yeah, there's a lot of electronic as well, sort of rock elements, jazz improvisation, odd meters, you know, all many great things that I also like in music. With Emanuele Primavera, for example, the drummer, a composer, I play in his own CD, like, and we experience. Oh, it was nice to. In this case, it was different, really different project than Yaze. More spacey, you know. Also, you can feel some Sicilian, you know, influences in Sicilian vibe in the music. So that's mainly what you know. What gives you when you play with different musicians, mostly if they are from different countries, you know.
Well, you play the jazz guitar. Can you tell me, please, what kind of guitar you play and why? Also, I would like to have information about effects you use for your guitar, and also the strings you use.
Okay.
Just some typical technical
or gear information.
information.
Yeah, no, as a guitar, I'm not really like a nerd about guitars and effects, you know, just for many years I was looking for sounds that I like, so I changed many guitars, of course, and now I feel I really like the Gibson ES335. This is really good for jazz, but also for crossover music, you know, if you want to combine, you know, when I play some rock or it's very versatile instrument. And as a pedal, I use lately is really small setting of five pedals like this, mainly just a reverb and delay and a freeze. There's a pedal, there's a sound retainer, a delay, as I say, delay, and just distortion. So and then I use like an expression pedal to make like to use like some to modulate the sound of the delay, so that I can get some different frequencies modulations with just using the pedal. Nothing more than that, I think. So I use Godin, like with nylon strings, for a certain project, but it's not one of the main guitar. I love classical guitar as well, but it's more. I use it to practice home and to practice sounds and to relax.
So you rehearse a lot. You practice a lot.
Well, I try to. It works in periods, you know. Some periods you are quite busy and you don't have time to. But at least a couple of hours in the morning, I try to keep always this to when I can, even more. Yeah.
So it's kind of a ritual that you
yeah. For me, it's very important as also
to have to stay in
shape, and also also it makes me feel good. It's like it's really important routine thing for me to do, also for mental health, for health in general. That I like to do this daily.
Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about how you compose? For sure, you compose also for other people, for other bands or ensembles. But when you compose just for yourself, how do you do that? Do you have a ritual to do that? That you need something that has to be perfect around you, or do you compose when you are traveling? What do you need to have in a composition?
It's nice. It's always happens in different ways. One of the main interesting sentence that interesting suggestion that I had was from David Bergman, one of my teacher here in Groningen. And I remember we did a masterclass about composition and was talking about Tom Harrell, and he was saying interesting things that I still it's on my mind that it was each composition that he does, it's different than the other ones. So it was kind of like using different approach or different elements to compose new piece each time. So he came up with different pieces of music, and this somehow was stuck in my mind. It was like, oh, this is an interesting way to. So that's what I start to do in general. Of course, if there is some idea that comes out, sometimes I write some piece of music in 1 hour, for example, just to get the melody and chords ready, and then maybe I do some editing later. But I think that my favorite ones are like a part of a process that sometimes takes even like months, or weeks, months, depends. It's like building a building somehow, and also because I like a lot of counterpoint, and I like to re-listen what I compose. I re-listen the ideas many times, and so these ideas can start to resonate and suggest, the next part that I'm going to write. So it's so basically I'm trying to compose different thing every time. So if I start with a piece, for example, there is some like static, I would say like long chords is more spacey long chords. The next piece is probably gonna be more rhythmical, so with a bass line that maybe is more active. Some other piece can be. I made also a list of approach for composition, so it works for me also that for a period I listen artists that I really like. I, for example, say, okay, I want to listen only to John Scofield for 2 weeks, and I make a selection of a certain stuff there, and that's how I compose lately a piece that is called Scofield, because it's very based on this way of it's based on, and it's very influenced by him. So I have different ways, I'm trying to push, like now I try to write every day, like not every day but often, like trying to keep writing even 1 bar idea, 2 bars idea. I have many of these, just to I think it's very important to keep this like as a practice, so that it becomes then like natural, more natural things to do. There are many examples I can I can take. Each piece, as I say, is a story for itself, and but it's nice to hear some friends tell me that they can already see that they're all part of my my world. So that's nice to hear it. And for me, it's difficult sometimes I'm trying to work also on kind of my signature things, but I'm not so worried about that. I think it's I enjoy to create new things, to explore new harmonies, new melodies, compose for different people. So you compose differently, of course. So it depends on the project you work with. You get different, stimulation or inputs. So it's quite open.
Another big part in your life is the teaching part. You teach at Palermo Jazz Music School between 2010 and 2014. Mm-hmm. Then also at the Arte Musica Academy in Calta, Girone. Mm-hmm. Then you also were teaching in London, where you stayed 4 years. And now back in Palermo, you are also teaching again there. Mm. What does fascinate you about teaching? Why is it so special for you that you have to do that?
Yeah, teaching, I think, is something I often say is my real big love, actually. I don't know. I've been always curious about discovering new ways of playing the same thing. For example, so say, okay, let's see how in this book the teacher talk about learning this stuff, and then I see, okay, there is another book who talk about the stuff, and it's nice to see how each a teacher talk about the same way or approach the same subject in a different way. So all these things, like I took and I start to work on my own, teaching program, let's say, teaching concept, or make my own teaching concept. And plus it's very interesting to interact with the students, with the need of the students. So this add more inputs, more interesting, like it's very inspiring to interact with the students because they come up always with different questions, problems to solve. And so one of the more interesting things to do is like to solve these problems, and then for me means like to learn something new from the guitar, from the improvisation, or whatever subject is related with the music. So teaching is another, and it's very related with the performance, with all the, of course, with the music that I play or I compose, So everything fits each other. So.
Who are your students?
Who are my
they
students?
children or adults?
Okay, sorry. Yeah. I taught a lot of like little boys as well. I think I have good memories of one little boy, 5 years old in London, very talented, with children is nice because I like to actually learn a lot from them, to see how far they can go, And so with this kids, I asked him to actually start to see if he could play with index and middle, this typical, like academic way to learn classical guitar. Usually at that stage, when they are so young, you don't ask maybe a question like that, you just play a bit with them, you let them play with the thumb, the easiest way. But I felt that this boy could go really far. And I just told him, okay, can you play like this with the right posture, like professional guitar player, like say okay, and then he start way to learn posture and independence of the two hands, index, middle movement, it was like, and that is really, it made my day. It's really nice to see when you are right, so this is when it was nice to have this experience with children, but it's not always all that. I would say it's a rare thing because they want to play, they want to have fun, and that's also the right thing. But I did a lot of teaching for children, that I actually decided lately to focus more on teaching actually jazz guitar and improvisation. That's more my it's more interesting for me to follow that. Mainly after I did this experience at the Conservatory in Potenza, I discovered that it's really something that I love to do, and I got a lot of really nice vibe from the students. They were happy about my my teaching. That felt that I had more. It was more a sharing thing, So yeah, I'm more into teaching like adults, let's say, or at least teaching jazz guitar improvisation.
Is there a general advice you would give to young musicians who want to go a little bit your direction?
Well, I always say to listen a lot of music. That's always what happens, because it happens that there are students who wants to learn guitar, but they wants to learn scales, chords, they ask about many technical information, but then I can see that they don't have enough listening for to satisfy their question. So I say, okay, listen listen carefully, listen a lot of music, walk with your headphones, trying to really go deep in because music is inside of you, is not on your guitar, it's not on the book, it's not, so it's very important to absorb a lot of information that hopefully is gonna come out, when you start to play the guitar. That's how it was for me, like that when I start to play. So that's one of the main. I think it's probably the main most important thing at the beginning, to do. Eat food and then.
Can you tell me, for you, what is the most perfect and beautiful sound you maybe discovered and experienced? Is there something like that?
You mean talk about guitar sound or sound?
Whatever. Acoustic situation, maybe in a different building, or a landscape, a nature, or music.
Not only about music.
Yeah.
No, just follow my mind suggestion at the moment. And I remember this incredible feeling. I was in Tunisia. I was 19 years old, and I was in the Salt Sea. Is a place where you can just turn around yourself 360 degrees and you don't see anything in the horizon. It's completely free, and you are stepping on this sea salt, dry, like a sea, and this total silence was my first experience. I experienced like completely silent.
Thank you very much.
Oh,
yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bernd. Thank you
Yes.
for having me. Oh, yeah. That's interesting. It's my first interview, actually. It was
Yeah.
interesting experience too.
Yeah.
Cool.
Is Palermo not too hot?
Palermo. Nah, well, it's in August. It's quite hot. It's quite hot, but now it's strange because of the global warming. Everything is just changing. We have like big storm now. Some people died as well in some part of the. It's crazy. It's crazy. Some torrential storms. It's really strange for Sisi. So I don't know. They say that November is gonna be summer again. So. It's great. Crazy.